This is the application for the Tapo C460. I have it listed on all of my devices right here. You'll notice that there is a quick toggle to put it into privacy mode as well as to take it out of privacy mode. You also have its location and battery percentage that will show you if it is charging, it'll be green, or it will say 100% if it's fully charged. Because this is a battery camera, we do have to open it up and let the battery feed start up for us. Up at the top, we have the name of the camera. And then just under that is our Wi-Fi connectivity signal strength and then battery percentage. Looking at the video feed itself, if we double tap, we can zoom in and zoom out. Or if we come up here, I can pinch to zoom in more, and you can actually see the mesh on that fence back there, as well as the fact that it is starting to rain. You also notice that it says 1 of 36. If I swipe, that's because you can set up multiple cameras to be visible from this one screen. If I select my box over here, I can actually pick other Tapo cameras that I have. And here we go. I'll turn that on. And now I will get a live feed from each of those cameras. And here you can see you can have 4 in one shot. I'm going to put that back to the single view right there and come back to our camera. To the right of that, you'll see this is the video quality. I have it at the maximum for 4K, which is one of the reasons you're getting this over some of the other options is that 4K, but you can go down to 720 or just leave it at auto. Gotta close that off. Moving on, we have auto, which is for night mode or day mode. You can toggle between those manually, or you can select which one you'd like. And then over here, we have our full screen view. That's going to change the location of some of your icons. Now notice over here, I have call, microphone, video, and photo, and then the date. We're going to go back and actually come down to that row right here. The first being this camera icon. If I use this, it's going to take a still frame of whatever happens to be in view at that moment. If I select the record option, that is going to record anything that I happen to be seeing in that view. So if there's movement, that will be captured. Here we have our camera's microphone. Notice I have it a little higher than is recommended. That's why it's in the red. And then to the right of that, we have our audio types. We have mic on, tap to call, or speaker on. So if I turn off either one of these, well, now the microphone will be off or the speaker will be off. If I select in the middle, this is going to be to use the full duplex. Now, anybody who's outside would be hearing me talk and wonder what's going on. I'm going to hang that back up, but come back to show you the options over in the upper right-hand corner where you can adjust your speaker and camera microphone options right from there. That's all under our call. If I come down, we have talk. Well, this is different than the full duplex that we were looking at before. For this one, you actually have to press and hold in order for it to activate. You can kind of see it's blue underneath my finger and has waves coming out. Similarly, we can adjust our speaker and microphone right from there. We also have alarm. Now, this will enable the alarm, but will not actually trigger unless something walks through frame, like this. So it's not actually going to trigger it just by selecting that. It's different than other cameras that I've tried, but Tapo seems to like it that way. So that's how they do things. We have privacy mode. Well, doing that means that the video from the camera will not be sent to the application, nor can you see what's going on. It will also not record during that time frame. Privacy mode means you're getting nothing. Coming down, we have light, which will be tricky to see, but you can see it kind of brightened up a little bit there. And since it is raining, you can see the rain coming down. If I turn that off, those will turn off. So that's what that is. That's a toggle. And you might have noticed that there's actually a timer. That timer is so that you don't leave the lights on for an extended period of time, because this is a battery powered camera, even if it does have the solar panel to help keep it topped off. Tag on and off. Well, this will tag moving objects with a blue box around it, as you can see here. So it helps you kind of keep track of what's going through frame so that you kind of visually zoom in on that location. And then we have our Tapo Care, which is also kind of very largely displayed down here. I wanted to leave that on, but you can say, yep, I got it, go away, and it won't be there anymore. But if we come into our Tapo Care, this will show you what you could pay for. And really that's 30 days of unlimited cloud storage, rich notification with snapshot, meaning instead of just text, you can see an image of what's going on. You have video summary, which is kind of an interesting feature, but not necessarily one that I feel the need to pay for Tapo Care to get. You have your weekly report, smart sort, and baby snapshot and growth. I don't particularly think you're going to be doing that with this style of camera being outside, but that's everything that you have under your Tapo Care. One of the reasons I like Tapo cameras is, one, I don't actually need to pay for the Tapo subscription for this to be a fully useful camera for me. Now, if we come down, we have our playback and downloads. Right now, this is going to be our playbacks area. So if we come through here, you can see it has a filter showing person, motion, and a spot on the timeline. If I select this, you can see me walking back, or I can select this one where you see me walking out there. I can pause this. Notice in the upper right-hand corner for our playback, there is a speed option. Selecting the speed option is only available if you're actually playing it, but you can slow down to 1/16 or speed it all the way up to 16 times speed, which is nice if you need to get through a lot of information quickly. You also have the ability to do our audio from here, take a snapshot, take a recording right from here. We also have the ability to clip, so we can size this to how we want and then download the clip in order to help keep our clip size small. And then we could do widescreen. Now, one thing you might notice on the purple timeline here is I have it set where it's actually taking a clip every 10 seconds. And this is one of the features that Tapo has that allows you to kind of get a 24/7 recording out of this without actually being 24/7, because I am getting the progression of what's going on, maybe just not in that moment. You can turn this on or off depending on the size of the SD card that you have in here. What I will say is we're just gonna pause that, come down, I'm gonna hit the 3 dots. I can download this event, which is downloading currently. I can correct the event type. Well, maybe it saw this, but it was actually something else. This is very useful to help train the AI. So I'm glad that Tapo now includes this because I don't remember testing that in the past. We can change the date. Simply select our calendar. Anywhere that has a blue dot, that is going to be something that has activity. And then up here at the top, we can select our downloads and it's going to show us all of our downloads. So here, if we want to check out that download, here's a family of raccoons that apparently have decided to make my property their home. From here, we can share a download. We can favorite the download. We can download this to our device, which is different than downloading to the downloads area, or we can delete it entirely. Coming up to the corner here, we also have the ability to filter. So if we want to look for a specific type, we can do so and then apply that, or we can select a bunch of them like this in order to download or delete instead of having to do that one by one. And that was all under our playback and downloads area. But that's everything that we can do with the camera controls. If we come up to the sprocket icon in the upper right-hand corner, that is going to be for our settings for the camera. Here you can see I have the name, which has sensitive information in it, such as your Wi-Fi, the MAC address, things of that nature, but it's also where you can check the firmware. So you can go in there to do that. We have our detection right here. If I select detection, it will allow us to set the wake up sensitivity. How sensitive do you want this to be to motion? And it gives you a range test right there. You also have detection zones. Right now I have it for all, but Tapo's really cool. I can set this for each type. So if I want to edit this, and let's say right now this is for motion, this is for pet. Notice they're changing color. Let's say for person, I really don't care about here because I know that that's me. I can change this using the sizing handles and say, this is where I want my person to be. Or I can come over to pet and say, well, out there, it's fine. I just care about them if they're close to there. And if we select save, that will save what we have going on. I can also add a zone. Notice I can add a bunch of zones right there if I wanted to. These are all different pet zones, but I'm going to select back because I don't want to save any of the things that I changed. And then I'm going to set it back to everything because I want to catch everything in all the places. Moving on, we have our detection types. I have motion detection on, I have person detection, and I'm going to turn on pet detection. Select got it. And then notice we can change the sensitivity for our pet. You can do this for each individual detection type. We also have our auto exposure where if I turn this on, it will automatically adjust the exposure for a person or a pet. I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to save that. Now, not only have I altered that pets will be detected, but I've also changed my exposures right from here. Coming back, here's our alarm you saw before. We can turn that on and off and it will be motion triggered, not actually setting it off right now. We have alarm type. Will it do sound and light, just lights or just sound? So depending on how you want to notify people that they're there and shouldn't be. You also have your default sound, the volume, and then you've got the types. Siren, which is going off outside, emergency, or red alert. We also have the ability to create a custom sound. So if I select create a custom sound, tap to record. Hey, you get off my lawn. I see you there. Go away. Notice there's a countdown timer. You should really be gone by now. And then play, which will play outside. Get off my lawn. I see you there. Go away. Notice there's a countdown timer. You should really be gone by now. If we like it, we simply select save. And now that would become our alert sound for outside. We're going to go back to default just for now. Alarm duration, you have default or you can customize 5 seconds all the way up to 30 seconds, or custom where you can go pretty much anywhere in between if you like. Alarm event type, if we select this, when will this trigger? Will it trigger for all motion, just a person, just a pet, or vehicle? So if it's mainly pets that you're trying to scoot away from your property, you could set this for just animals and nag them to leave. Alarm schedule, you have all day, during the day, which is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, which is 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or creating a custom schedule where you can select your days and times as to when that will be active. I do enjoy the amount of customization that we're getting just for setting an alarm. And then we have our anti-theft alarm. So especially being that this is a magnet-based camera, you're going to want to turn this on in order to hopefully discourage somebody from taking your camera, or at the very least, being notified when it's being tampered with. Here we have battery status. So I have show the battery status, show the percentage, and then working mode. Right now I have it set for balance, but I can set this for high performance, which is going to give me longer clips and more triggers, but will eat more battery power. We can do balance, power saving, or custom, depending on what we want. If we come into custom, it'll give us lots of options. So here we go, customize my settings. So we have clip trigger, clip buffer, and clip length. All of those are adjustable to how you'd like. I'm going to go back to, yes, I want to go back to high performance. We have auto power saver mode. So that's when the camera gets down to 10%, it will turn itself into a power saving mode. Here we have solar charge data. Well, really should have turned that on. So right now there's not enough information for that. You also have auto privacy mode, which is a nice feature, meaning whenever you take the camera down, if you need to charge the camera, to worry about putting the camera facing a particular way. Here we have data, which I always appreciate. Charging and usage over 7 days. You can come in here into 30 days. You can see based on when I'm doing this portion of the review, don't have quite 30 days of usage yet. Here we've got actual battery usage. So that was kind of our charge information, usage information, total time. So how long has it been active for? Here's our details. Here's our wake up versus filtered out by AI, and then solar energy output, which I don't have any right now because it's raining, but I always love extra data. And the fact that I have so much on my battery, just great. Here we have 24/7 capture. This is that purple line that I was telling you about that was capturing data as we were going along. So we have capture interval. You can do 1 second or 60 second. 10 isn't bad. 1 might be a little overkill because that's just a video recording at that point. We can schedule this. So right now it's doing 24/7, but if there's only specific times that we want, we would simply come up here, select edit, and then I would click, 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 click for deactivate. We're not going to save that. We're going to come back. And then if we wanted to, we can select here to disable the 24/7 capture. If you've got a large enough SD card and you have enough solar energy to keep the battery topped off, I would strongly recommend turning that on. It's a great feature to have. Coming down, we have Tapo Care free trial. We were in here already. This is where we can get our cloud storage, etc., etc. Just know any new camera, Tapo is going to give you that 30-day free trial. Moving on, we have storage and recordings. Well, here we have, I'm going to local storage. This is showing you the local storage that I have. It's camera. So you want to make sure your time zones are right. Here is the storage that's being used versus the storage that I haven't used. We have our loop recording. And then something new that Tapo has started doing, which is SD card encryption. Notice I have this turned off. If you turn this on, it will give you device-specific access, which means the card can only be accessed and decrypted on the device that the encrypted took place. So it would need to be in this camera. Strong authentication method, meaning you have a password required to just view those clips, and then Tapo App access only. So I can't just take this SD card out, put it in my computer, and then see what was on the SD card. Coming back, we have clip setting. So we have our retrigger time, which is how much time passes in between clips. I have it at 0 right now, so it's going to go off and off and off. We've got our record buffer, so I have it set at 6 seconds. So this is when motion is no longer detected, the camera will keep recording for 6 seconds longer than that motion is detected. And then maximum clip length is 60 seconds. That is because I have it prioritizing surveillance than being balanced or preserving the battery. We have our record schedule. If we wanted to make adjustments, just like the 24/7, we can come in there. And then record sound. If you live in an area where you cannot record sound, that is where you would go in and turn that option off. Moving on, we have our video settings. Here we have our night mode. Right now, I have been testing out the color night mode, which will turn on the LEDs. But if you want classic black and white, you can simply turn on the IR mode, and then you get to choose near, medium, and far for the intensity of your IR lights. We have video quality. Well, I'm using the maximum that we can get from this. If your Wi-Fi network can't handle that, you can simply come down to 720, which is still considered HD, but definitely is not that 4K video. Privacy zones. Well, this is a nice feature to have. I don't necessarily need it where I have it situated, but if I wanted to set up a privacy zone, I'm going to select add, and we're going to throw it over here, just like that, and select save. What this will do is this now in the live video feed and in recordings will not be visible or recorded. You will not be able to tell what is there. So if you have your camera pointed at somebody's house or in that general area and you want to do them the service of not showing up in your videos or recordings, privacy zones are a must and a greatly appreciated addition to any smart camera. Coming down, we have distortion calibration. With this camera, you really don't have to worry about it, but it's kind of telling you if you have some cameras that have the fisheye look, you can turn on distortion correction and it will kind of pinch out those areas by zooming in on your video. Image setting, well, I have it set for original, but we can change our color temperature, cool, warm. You can kind of see what's happening there. Soft. I can change the image brightness if I want to, but I'm going to leave it at original. So that's going to come back and you can see the range is kind of coming down in the background there. I have auto exposure. We turn that on in another location. Detection tag. That was also what we did. So that's the blue box, but notice here we can select tag label and it shows you right up there what it is. So if it's a person, it will show you if it's a person. If it's a pet, it'll show you it's a pet. Extra place to go to turn that on. Next, we have on-screen display info. Well, I have display timestamp. Here we have the format for that timestamp. Let's say we don't want year, month, day. Let's say we want month, day, year, or to change it to 24-hour, we can do that right from here. So I'm going to change that. And from here, we could say, which ones do we want to apply this to also? Well, we're going to say we're going to apply to all of my Tapo cameras. Coming back, we have display text. You can turn this on. This will be an extra box that shows up. Maybe you're in docking bay 4. Well, you want to make sure that your camera says docking bay 4, which is different than the camera name. And then you have display logo, which will be the Tapo logo in your video feed. I like that because it allows me to know that that is my Tapo camera. Moving on, we have display tag on screen. So right here, it's going to show you speed and then whether it's live, and it gives you a little preview right there. I appreciate that Tapo does that, kind of giving you a general idea of what to expect. Moving on, we have our spotlight. Well, right now I have it set at 4. It's not going to do anything because you can't see anything, but you could toggle that up and then select this light icon right here to give you an idea of how that looks. Definitely recommend that you do that at night. We have our LED status light on or off. We have our network connection. We have a toggle right here for privacy mode. Not necessary since we've turned it on from another location. Notifications on or off. Well, do you want to be notified of what's happening? Well, you should. So make sure that's on. Reach notification you have to pay for Tapo Care for. But here we have notification type. Well, maybe I don't care about motion. This is in my backyard, so I only care about people and pets. So now I only get notified for people and pets. We can select a schedule, so I have always, or we can do just like we could before, during the day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or a customization based on what you input. Now coming back out, that was under notifications. Now we're into our advanced settings. Here we have our power line frequency. It's set to auto, but you can change this between 50 and 60 hertz. This is mostly if you're noticing flickering in your video because of LED lights not necessarily being from where the camera thinks it should be. We have our voice call mode. Standard mode, well, we can do compatibility mode, which ensures stability, especially when the sound is too low or call problems occur. It's just a way that it's compressing the video and audio that's coming through. We have our display setting. We have hardware acceleration or compatibility mode. Hardware acceleration is going to give you better performance boost. Compatibility mode is going to save your hardware if you have something that's not quite as up to date as it could be. Diagnostics, you can turn this on or off. It is recommended to disable this feature when problem is solved. So when you turn this on, it starts gathering a bunch of information in order for you to share with Tapo to diagnose what could be going on with your camera. Thankfully, I have not had to do that with any of my Tapo cameras. That was under our advanced settings. Coming down, we have share this device. We can simply select share, and then we would either use somebody's Tapo ID or their email in order to share this camera. Next, we have smart actions. This is very useful if you're embedded in the Tapo ecosystem. So you'd be able to have the camera trigger a light bulb turning on, or have the camera trigger a door lock. They give you a bunch of pre-designed ones, or you've got ones that you can create yourself by going add, and you can say smart cut or automation. You select automation, effective time. When will this occur? Add a trigger. If this, then that. So if you're familiar with that formatting, that's what the smart action is. You've got your user guide right here, allowing you to find extra information from Tapo directly about the camera. You have your support center, which is going to bring you right to Tapo's information and troubleshooting guides for this camera. You've got another location for your firmware. So if you need to check your firmware, come here, check it. But during the setup process, you should have left it on auto update. Under that, we have reboot the camera. So for whatever reason, if you need to reboot the camera to do some testing, that's where you would go. And then remove the camera. So if for whatever reason you remove this camera from your Tapo account to provide it to somebody else to use, that's what you would do first. And that has been everything that we can do in the Tapo app for the Tapo C460.